there is time at the end to ask questions and throughout. So additionally, if you can ask questions using the chat if you don't want to unmute yourself or participate verbally. And after this session, we will be sending out an email to attendees who registered, and it'll include my contact information and booking. There we go. There's some faces. Good morning, everyone. My welcome to Business to Bruce's Learn more about Spruce the Bruce grants for your business session. My name is Lindsey McLean, and I'm a business development coordinator here at Bruce County. And I do lead the Spruce the Bruce program, which is why I am leading this session. So Business to Bruce is our small business enterprise center that is funded by the province, providing one-on-one support, training, grant opportunities, and information sharing for businesses and entrepreneurs in Bruce County. Additionally, if you haven't signed up to our newsletter, we do have one, and it outlines when Spruce the Bruce launches. It outlines our events, a lot of the important information from our partners that we share as well. Anything that we kind of run through economic development. So we will send a link to that as well. And so I'm going to get started. So for today, my goal is to kind of go over the program, talk about community improvement plans, which are really where we are able to provide the grants to businesses, review the eligible grants, including eligibility, how to prepare, some tips and tricks that I can recommend as the person who runs the program, process and timelines, and then we'll do some Q&As. So I will start that. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Perfect. So I'm also learning how to do it through PowerPoint on Teams. So bear with me if I'm fumbling a little bit. So Spruce the Bruce is our community, so Bruce County's community development program that aims to build vibrant communities by supporting local businesses, municipalities, community partners, commercial areas, and public experiences. So Spruce the Bruce partners together with our community partners, businesses, property owners to create a vision for future growth and development by providing tools and grants to achieve that vision. So every year funding is discussed as part of the overall Bruce County budget and is supported by County Council. So once the budget gets approved, then that's when we're able to share how much we get and if the program is moving forward. So the program is therefore run annually, pending budget approval. So the program currently has 13 different grants, and the total funding for 2025 is $125,000. And funding is offered on a first come, first served basis until it is exhausted. So some municipalities provide additional matching funding through the program to provide you with even further support, which I will discuss later in today's session briefly, as well as some municipalities also offer their own grant programs as well. So overall, the program is meant to encourage new projects that aim to revitalize buildings, redevelop properties, and support some of our key sectors. As such, general maintenance is not within the scope of the community development program. So I've tried to make this as simple as possible, as the planning in the municipal act can be quite complex, and it's legislation, and I am by no means an expert. But to understand how Spruce the Bruce grants are provided, I would like to discuss the community improvement plans, or as you'll see them, CIPs, which are approved at the local municipal levels through bylaws and are legislated through the Planning Act. So if you really wanted to kind of delve in deep, I would say Google the Planning Act, and you could see more. Also, each municipality, you can go on to the municipal website and type in community improvement plans and see their current community improvement plan, as well as speaking to the municipal staff there as well. So the easiest way to kind of explain it is the community improvement plans are approved at the local municipal levels through bylaw and are legislated through the Planning Act. They outline not only what funding can be provided, but they also identify the community improvement project areas, which sometimes you'll hear or see people write CIPAs, for an environmental, social, or community economic development reason deemed to be desirable for redevelopment. This area can even be the entirety of a municipality. In addition, community improvement plans are subject to ministerial approval, and the preparation of a community improvement plan is treated in the same manner as preparation of an official plan. So there's often public meetings that are held. It is through the community improvement plans that Bruce County is permitted to offer incentives in the form of grants to encourage rehabilitation initiatives to stimulate development in the municipalities. So I do notice that there's some questions that I can identify right now, but really, as I said, I'm not an expert in terms of community improvement plans, but I just wanted to kind of give you a high level overview of what it is, how we decide how we can give out grants. So the municipalities really can have to identify it in their community improvement plans, and then that is given to the ministry for approval. So that is the only way we can offer grants. Outside of that, it's actually considered bonusing, which you could read more about bonusing in the Municipal Act. So I do see Kristen has a question. Which municipalities have extra funding, or do we need to find that out? I do have a list here, which I'll go through as I get into the grant systems further. And then, okay, gosh. Yes, so if you do get a quote, so if you do get a quote and the contractor can no longer do the work, you can continue the work. The only caveat there is if so A, you would need to let me know, and B, if that quote is more than the original quote and you haven't matched the funding, we still can only give the funding that was approved in your letter of offer, because that money, it will have been designated to another person. So we'll get kind of right into the grants, which is the meat of the presentation, if you will. So available grants for business and property owners are the facade building improvement grant, the fascia signage grant, perpendicular signage grant, awning grant, patio, community marketing grant, agri-food, business accessibility, product and experience development, and residential improvement grant. And so out of the 13 grants, 10 are available to business and property owners. So facade building improvement, fascia signage, perpendicular, awning, patio, and community marketing, and the residential improvement grants are available for eligible downtown businesses and property owners. The business accessibility adaptability grants are available for business and property owners throughout the municipality. So in the last few years, each municipality has updated their community improvement plans to allow for these 4 additional grants. So they are now allowed throughout the entire county. The agri-food innovation grants are available to agricultural operators, and the product and experience development grant is available to tourism operators outside of the downtown community improvement project areas. The program is only available to Bruce County businesses and property owners, so as long as you're within the limits of Bruce County. So all of the areas are identified within each municipality's community improvement plan. So you can log on. There is a link on our website that says community improvement project areas, and you can click on that and type in the address and see which community improvement project areas your location falls within. The residential businesses or businesses that do not have a brick and mortar location are ineligible for these grants. So if you are working from home, it would be ineligible if that's your out of home business. But we do have other grants and supports available for those businesses. So I'm gonna go through each and every single grant now, and then I will review each of the municipalities and the supports that they're providing for this year. So for the facade building improvement grant, it is 50% up to $4,000, and you need to have 3 major projects. So some examples are lighting, siding, windows, doors, and masonry. A list of eligible criteria is on the website as well. Ineligible are new building, roof repairs, greenery work that is not visible from the main road. And I've actually gotten a lot recently of people asking about overhangs. So overhangs are roofs that are like hard roofs or tin roofs. Those aren't considered awnings. Those are considered part of the roof. The interesting and great thing about the facade building improvement grants is that you can stack them. So if you were to apply for awning, patio, or any of the signage grants, one of those can be considered part of the 3 major projects. So for example, if you were to get an awning, perpendicular sign, and facade, the awning or the perpendicular sign could count as one of the 3, and then you would only need 2 additional elements. You can't stack more than one grant, but you can stack one of them. This is an example of a recent facade building improvement that was done. So this is in Kincardine. So they had, they got the awning grant, they got new signage, they got new lighting, and they got some brick and mortar work done. So you can see there's kind of a significant improvement between the first and the second photo. The next grant we have available is the fascia signage. So that's 50% up to $1,000. So that's really the signage that's attached to the front of the store. So backlit, neon, coroplast, vinyl banning, or banners, freestanding signage isn't part of that grant. You can stack that with the facade building improvement grant, as I had mentioned. Here is an example of a fascia sign. The next grant is the perpendicular signage. So that is 50% up to $750. Again, that's the perpendicular blade or projecting sign. Ineligible, again, is the same as the fascia signage. And you can stack that one with the facade building improvement grant as well. So here's an example. They got both the facade but this is an example of the perpendicular signage here. Next we have awning. So awning is up to $1,000. Eligible are awnings above the windows, doors, or takeout windows. The ineligible is roof overhangs, and again, that one can be stacked with the facade building improvement grant. And this is an example of that awning here. As you can see, it's retractable. It could be a permanent awning or a retractable one. I would be happy to, I would say places that are near the water, retractable tends to be better as it gets damaged less because it can get pretty high winds near the waters. Patio installation is another one of the downtown grants. So that's 50% up to $4,000. That's decking, fencing, or railings, flooring or patio, stone or bricks. Ineligible would be patio furniture or portable accessories, greeneries, and again, you can stack that one with the facade building improvement grant. And then here's an example of a patio installation from last year. The community marketing grant. So this one's a fun grant in terms of what I think is it's 50% up to $2,500. So it's a minimum of 3 businesses in Bruce County, with one of them being in the downtown, in a downtown core, but the other 2 can be anywhere throughout Bruce County, and they don't have to be a brick and mortar. So, but the eligible design, production of marketing, and paid promotion. So ineligible projects are projects that duplicate a role that is already being fulfilled within the community or county, and projects that generate advertising revenue for the client. So here's an example of in Sauble Beach, the Chamber of Commerce had an event that was held, and they had the radio in, they did some promotion online, and so they got that grant to support that project. Next is the agri-food innovation grant, which is 50% up to $5,000. This is for agricultural properties and operators. So eligible is any infrastructure for agritourism experience, bioproduct farming, direct consumer sales, organic farming, small scale food and beverage processing, and specialty crops farming. Again, ineligible projects are anything that's temporary, removable, or consumable materials or elements. So this is a project that was supported where it was able to expand her flower location to expand the space to allow her to create more product. The next grant is the Business Accessibility Adaptability Grant. That's 50% up to $3,500. So those are, again, the criteria is commercial or mixed use buildings, automatic doors, accessible dressing rooms, washrooms, wheelchair ramps, and flat entrances. This is one of 2 grants that actually you can make improvements inside the building, whereas the rest of them are all just exterior. So again, that's the washrooms, the doors, or the change rooms. This is an accessibility project that was done where they got the ramp and the railings for the property. Then we have the Product and Experience Development Grant, which is 50% up to $5,000, and this is for commercial and mixed-use buildings. Again, this is infrastructure related to physical improvements and additions to building structures or the development of a new tourism product or services. Temporary removable materials or elements are ineligible, and the project cannot be within a downtown community improvement project area, as often those grants would be similar to the ones that are offered by our downtown ones. So, for example, patios, awnings, windows, facade improvement elements. Here's an example of the Product Experience Development Grant. They were having a lot of people that came in and kind of needed a break from the sun during their walk throughout the lavender farm, and so we supported this gazebo. Residential Improvement Grant is 50% up to $4,000. This is for downtown mixed-use buildings that are residential commercial. So if you have apartments above your commercial space. So supplies and labors related to the development of a new unit or expansion of an existing unit or necessary building code or fire code requirement upgrades. Again, that temporary or removable elements and projects that don't result in an additional unit or increase in occupancy or a new build are considered ineligible. So this is an example of a project that went from, obviously you can see where there was no residential unit, so then they made it. But another example would be if there was 1 bedroom and they made it into 2. So those are all of the grants for businesses. So I'm just gonna, before I go into the other grants, I am gonna just share what each municipality is doing. So this year, so this is for this year only. I can't say what will happen in future years, but this year the municipality of Erin-Elderslie is supporting $20,000 in matching grants, which would mean that we would do 1/3 up to the amount that I mentioned. The municipality of Erin-Elderslie, the municipality of Erin-Elderslie would do 1/3 up to the amount that we mentioned, and then the project owner applicant would do the remaining amount. And they're supporting perpendicular, fascia, awning, and facade. Each one of the municipalities, too, I will note, did release their own news release, so you could find that on their website as well. And I can send the links to those in the follow-up email. The Township of Huron-Kinloss is matching a total of $10,000, and that again is 1/3 matching, and so up to the maximum amount that I mentioned. So for example, if you had a project that was $20,000, for a facade improvement, we would cover up to 4. The Township of Huron-Kinloss would cover up to 4, and then you would cover the remaining, math, 12. I hope that's right. If not, this is not the recording that I will be using. Perpendicular, fascia, awning, facade, agri-food, product and experience development, and the accessibility are the ones that the Township of Huron-Kinloss is doing the matching grants for. Municipality of Kincardine is doing up to $20,000 this year in matching grants, and those again are 1/3, and that is perpendicular, fascia, awning, facade, building improvement, patio installation, business accessibility, and residential improvement. The municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula is doing up to $5,000, and that's 1/3, and that's for all of the grants. So except for community marketing. Oh no, all of the grants. So perpendicular, fascia, awning, facade, patio, business accessibility, residential improvement, product and experience development, agri-food innovation, and community marketing. And the municipality of South Bruce Peninsula is doing $25,000 per perpendicular, fascia, awning, facade, and patio, and then they actually put in an additional $10,000 specific for accessibility improvements. So those are the municipalities that are matching this year. So Brockton has their own grants that if you are in Brockton, that I would encourage you, and if you did apply, I also connect you with them. And then South Bruce and Saugeen Shores do not have any matching grants this year. So those are the kind of those grants, and I will be sharing the recording as well, Zahid. So there are 4 additional grants that I'll just kind of briefly touch on. The community marketing grant, community signage grant, destination infrastructure and active transportation grant, and streetscape beautification grant. And those are available to municipalities, BIAs, chambers, and some of them are available to not-for-profits with a focus on visitors. But this kind of session is for business and property owners, so I won't really go into that in too much detail. So in terms of preparation, these are kind of my recommendations of how to prepare before you log on to the application. So I would say review each of the individual grant pages. They are available all year round, and I do update them once any information that is added or removed is any new branding guidelines are added, any new CIP updates, community improvement plan updates. So those pages are that's your best resource. Reach out to the local municipality to find out about their bylaws and permits. You will want to ensure that your project is within the scope of their project bylaws and permits, and you will want to start your application for permits if that is required. Get quotes from vendors with some timelines. And make sure that when you do get the quotes that they don't expire before the program's launching, or you would have to get new ones. So I would say within the 6 months before the project. Create or gather renderings or inspirational images for the designs. So for example, if you really like a sign, save that sign because you can use that as an example of what it is that you're looking for. Or if you have somebody who's kind of created the sign already for you, you can use that. Taking a high resolution photo of the entire building beforehand. So the photos that we do use for the before photos are used, as you just saw, kind of before and after. So it's really hard to get a nice before photo once a project's already started because it's no longer the same building as it was before. Again, this is really important about confirming you can meet the project deadlines. So the Spruce to Bruce grants, you have to complete the project before October 31st of the year which you get the grant. So spending all that time and money and then not being able to meet that deadline can be frustrating. If there is extenuating circumstances, we will consider granting an extension. Also ensuring that you can cover the costs up front. So both the municipality and the county do not give the funding up front. It's once the project is complete and you've submitted all of your receipts, then that's when the grant is issued. And then looking for other grant opportunities. So one thing people don't necessarily know is that as long as you're not making money on the project and it's allowed by the other granting organization, you can stack grants as long. So if you can get your full project covered. So for example, if another municipality has grants and outside of the grants that we're offering, you could potentially get your project covered. And then email me at info@spruce.com or book a meeting if you have any questions or something's just you're not understanding. We're here all throughout the year to help you answer all of those questions and work through those with you and find solutions and to see how we can ensure that you're fitting within the overall project scope. Some tips and tricks. I apologize. My mouth is getting so dry. I was going to try and make it through, but I couldn't. There we go. Some tips and tricks that I noticed that people are kind of continually running into. So applications can't be saved at this time. We are working on that, but they just cannot be. Bye, Zahid. I'll send the recording. Thank you. Applications can't be saved, so I will caution that because even though we've made them as simple as possible, it can be frustrating when you go on and you didn't have the right document and then you kind of read. So I would say read through the applications just to make sure that you have everything that's needed. Again, the local municipality, I've mentioned it a few times, they might have grants. So check with the local municipality or other granting bodies. In terms of the grants that I did mention through municipal support, the paper that you didn't see that I don't know why I held up, those ones you don't have to apply for. So the 1/3 matching, it's automatic. The grants are run through us. So if you are eligible, and there is funding left, you will automatically get those grants, and you'll see that in the letter of offer. In terms of what I've noticed, permits and quotes take the most time in terms of getting your project ready and out the door. So I would, as soon as you're aware of the project, reach out regarding those permits and those quotes because I would hate for you not to be able to move forward because you're waiting on those. Check if the building is in the community improvement project area, which is that link I mentioned on our main website, which I'll also send you. Check the community branding guidelines for downtown grants. So for even if your building is within a community improvement project area, if your community doesn't have branding guidelines, those are required for the downtown grants through Bruce County. An example would be Cargill. So they do have a community improvement project area, but because they don't have branding guidelines or facade guidelines, they're ineligible. So those areas, we are working with the municipalities to see how we can support around providing branding guidelines, working with them so that the businesses can receive grants. The timestamp, a lot of people don't realize this, but the timestamp is when an application is complete, not when it's submitted. So people will, at the beginning of the year when we launch February 1st, submit an application, and then I'll go through the photos, and they'll be of things that aren't related, or they'll be just random documents. That's fine, but that application isn't complete. So then I have to go back to you and reach back out and work with you to try and get the application complete. And your application will be complete as soon as everything that I need is there. If you do the work yourself, we will pay for materials, but not the labor. How you would get that quote would be you could go online and put all of those items into a cart and take a screenshot. You could go to your local hardware store and get them to write you out a quote. So if you do have a really large project and you have a handy partner, or you're handy yourself, or friends, you can do the work yourself, but it does have to meet building code requirements and accessibility requirements. But we will pay for the materials, just not the labor there. And then meet with the team prior to launch to discuss your ideas. If you think if your project isn't straightforward, I'd say always book a meeting with me or send an email to the team, and we can definitely help guide you through the project. And then kind of when in doubt, ask is what I like to say. And it's the first time I've ever said it, but I feel like that's a really good thing, is, if you don't know, just give me a shout, and I can answer your question for you. In terms of the process and timelines, so Spruce the Bruce launches annually on February 1st. That is always flexible pending budget approval, and kind of we launched on February 6th one year because there was I had just started, and so in mid-January, so it just wasn't feasible, but that's the date we aim for. Applications are reviewed, and municipal feedback takes between 2 to 4 weeks. So once we do get an application and I have deemed it complete, I do send it to the municipality, and then they ensure that the permits have been obtained and that it fits within their bylaws. And then applications are reviewed and awarded on an ongoing basis. A letter of offer is sent after municipal review and approval. Projects must not have started prior to receiving the letter of offer. So the project can't start until you've been approved, and approval is once you sign that letter of offer. The program intake closes once funding is exhausted. No new projects can begin after September 1st. So if you're on the wait list, and September 1st happens, we can't, because you wouldn't be able to meet the timelines. So you would, after your project's complete, you submit an online form with all of your receipts, and then that's when kind of that grant, I review that, and then we issue the grants. Funds are sent to the recipient within 6 to 8 weeks. We do have an EFT, an electronic fund transfer form. I would say that's the easiest way to get your funds and the quickest. So that is sent, it's in the letter of offer, but it's also sent, but like if we've seen your project complete, we'll send that letter of offer. Otherwise you'd get a check. When there was the poster strike, that was, we could only do EFTs. So I would say the easiest thing is just to fill out that EFT. And then all projects are completed. All projects need to be completed by the deadline of October 31st. So I know I'm a little bit over time, so I apologize, but does anyone have any kind of remaining questions about the grants? So I'd be happy to jump on a call if you have specific questions to any particular grant, or chat through email. We will be sending the follow-up email with my contact information and the slides and the recording and some additional materials. If you have any questions you think would be beneficial for the group, you can unmute yourself, raise your hand, or type in the chat at this time. Perfect. I think that means I did my job. Great. So what I'll do is I'll send an email after this with my booking link, my phone number, and as much information as I can to help you kind of navigate this process. I will thank you for attending, Kristen. So I will note that that the funding last year ran out by April 1st. I have noticed that we have had a lot of applications. So if you are interested in getting funding this year, I would recommend getting your application in as soon as possible. If you aren't sure about some things, please book a meeting with me and send an email, and I'll see, like, if you're having problems getting in with me. My calendar does get pretty busy. just send me an email and we can figure something out. I can move some stuff around. I hope that this was informative and that you were able to get the questions answered that you were looking for, and hopefully the resources that we provide will be beneficial to you. The session is also going to be on our training and events website page as well. So as I mentioned, I will be recording both sessions, and we'll be posting one of them. And I will be also doing in the upcoming weeks some little videos for each and every one of the grants separately, just in case people are looking for more of a deep dive or a focused bit of information on a specific grant. So with that, I hope everybody has a safe and snowy Wednesday, and we will, perfect. Carolyn, so I have your email, you booked it. So I'll get the email out to everybody with my booking link by the end of today. And then you can book a meeting. If you don't see something available right away, just send me an email at info@sprucethebruce.com and we can get that sent out right away. I might actually be able to, sorry, I'm kind of rambling now, but I have my booking meeting link here. This might be the easiest if I can just copy and paste it in the chat. So that's my booking link. So I won't close the meeting right away. But if you wanted to click on that, you should be able to find a time. And if not, you can just email me at info@sprucethebruce.com. Perfect. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and thank you for joining bright and early.